Hi, I'm CJ Elmberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Fredrick, Colorado. Behind me is a brand new 2026 Cimarron Lonestar. This is a stock combo, and the stock combos are such a versatile trailer. That's why they're so popular. We're really excited to walk you through this one. Before we start walking you through it and showing you everything, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing, and I'll show you some specs and how the trailer's laid out. We are 24 foot on the floor on this trailer. It is the standard width 6'10 wide, standard height 7'1 tall. Okay, and as you notice on the drawing, there's going to be a front tack room. That is a 5.5 foot short wall with a 4 foot offset. So let's walk you through this. As we're looking at this, Cimarron is all aluminum construction. Okay, so all aluminum constructed, 8-year structure warranty, 3-year hardware warranty, 1 year no questions asked warranty on the tires. We'll talk more about that. We'll start right up here at the nose of this trailer. On this one here, we went with the polished stainless sheet. It just really dresses the trailer up. It's a lot easier to clean them, but again, I think it just gives a better look to the trailer itself. You're gonna get some of those button marker lights on the front nose cap there. That became standard shortly after the 25 models. We were constantly putting those on our big trainer trailers, you know, living quarters, bigger trailers, but they made them standard on here. I think it really dresses them up. We'll show you on the side as well that they have those button lights. You're gonna have a B&W coupler. It's rated for 25,000 pounds. Okay, B&W, yes, the turnover ball. So you're familiar with that company. Cimarron teamed up with them a number of years ago. This is about the 3rd generation of this coupler that they came up with. Not so much on this trailer. When we get into the bigger trailers, it really comes into play. But if you have a truck that might be a little bit taller, maybe it's lifted, or you know, all these newer truck body styles, you know, are much taller as far as bed clearance height goes. And I'll show you when we get to the side, but this just coupler allows us to have a lot of flexibility to slide it within the sleeve and really set the trailer up to where we have bed clearance and also making sure the trailer's running level. Underneath the gooseneck, we're gonna have an equalizer jack. Okay, this is electric over hydraulic with the manual override. This is an upgrade versus the manual crank. This is fantastic because you can push the button up and down it goes. It's a little bit bigger tack room that we'll show you here in a minute, but you have this to where, again, you push a button up and down, easier getting on the truck, easier getting off the truck. It does have the manual override, so in emergency situations, you could get it on or off the truck. What's really cool is we've done this in the past. We did some how-to videos on how to operate this manual override, which we could send to you, but they've got a code right here, a QR code that you can scan, and the president of Cimarron, Ben Jansen, will show you how to operate this manual override. They're incorporating a lot of these codes. That way you can just scan them. We've done a bunch of how-to videos on a bunch of these trailers that we can send to you in really condensed versions, so it helps you on how to actually utilize everything and operate it. With this, you're gonna get this battery box, okay? Aluminum battery box, 12-volt battery in there. And then you're also gonna get a battery disconnect. So the disconnect is important because when we park this trailer, it's got a lot of interior lights, exterior lights. You turn this guy off when you park it and walk away from it so it doesn't drain the battery down, okay? That became standard a few years ago. We were constantly putting that on our inventory. They made it standard as this package. One of the other things that's part of this package now is this RedArc charger. So this guy right here, this is a really unique feature that they've started to add with this package. This really helps keep this battery charged up. It's a true 3-staging charger. We can tell if we have power coming from the truck when we plug it in. That's important because we want to charge that battery up. But what it also does is it's going to pull the amperage that we need from the truck to this battery based on its level. Okay, our truck would always work as a trickle charger, but very slow charging. So if a battery got low, it was really hard to get it charged up and really catch up. And you want to use your, you know, your lights. You want to be able to utilize that, especially when you get home late at night or unfamiliar places, you know, where, you know, you don't know where the lights are to park underneath to get that coverage. We need this battery charged up. So again, this RedArc is going to work as almost a supercharger for it, keeping it nice and charged up, giving a lot more life and longevity to the battery itself. The spare tire is elevated on this one, and the reason why is this jack has a bigger footprint than the manual crank. So normally it's down low, but we have to elevate it up. So that's why it is set up this way. If you notice on a lot of these standard trailers, these 6'10 wide, the spare tire is located up, regardless if it has the hydraulic jack on it already or a manual. And that's so if you wanted to upgrade to this over a manual, this part of it's already done. So it saves you time and money as far as getting that up out of the way. When we go to our wider trailers, it doesn't come into play, because when you widen that box to 7.5 or 8 foot wide, we have the spacing so that spare tire will be located down low. But that's why it's located where it is. Now, we talked about that coupler, but this right here is important, this gooseneck drop wall. Okay, standard is 50 inches. So what's happened is, again, all these newer, trucks have these taller bed heights. What we've done is we've gone in and made this a 53-inch gooseneck drop wall. And the reason why is now when you pull in with a newer truck, more than likely we can get it set up to where it's running level. We can adjust that coupler and get you the bed height you need. So what you can do is pay attention to newer trucks with older trailers on them. One or two things is happening. Trailers running level and minimal bed clearance. It's really tight. Or they've got it nosed way up to get bed clearance, but now we're shifting that weight, majority of it to that back axle, and that's what we want. We want equal weight distribution, trailer running level, and bed clearance. So that's why we've gone in and set it up with the 53-inch gooseneck drop wall height. We'll do that on a case-by-case basis, but a lot of these using trailers will do that 53. Okay, white is a standard sheet. This one here is that charcoal metallic. When we're done with the tack, I'll shut this tack door so you can really see it, broadside of the trailer. But it's an upgrade from white, but it's a really popular color, and it matches really well with a lot of the paint schemes that you'll see in a lot of the trucks today. All right, this front tack, this is really cool. This is that dual tack setup. We like to refer to it as a his and her side. That way, whoever you're traveling with, doesn't matter. You can have your side of the trailer, they can have theirs. You can tie horses specifically to each side based on where saddles and all your tack are at. But it's so nice to be able to work off of both sides of this trailer. So again, it's a 5.5 foot short wall, 4 foot offset. But on this longer wall side, as you can see, very first thing is this package is you're gonna get this 42-inch wide door. So this big, heavy duty door built by Cimarron. You're gonna get this swing out 4-tier blanket pole rack on the door itself. You're gonna get a brush tray. That's great for smaller miscellaneous items, good catch-all. Your fly sprays, your brushes. As you can see, we have the hose in here. I'll show you a water tank in a minute, but a lot of that catches a lot of items. And what we've done is we've set this up to mirror each side of the trailer. So I'll show you that here in a second, what I'm talking about. You get your fold-up step. We try to put these on all of our tack doors, okay? This one's 6'10" wide, so you're gonna get a little bit of a running board. When you go 7.5, you have a little bit of a running board. 8 foot, you have none. So these steps make a big difference working on and off these tack rooms. As you can see where I'm standing in this lower door jamb, that's a big step from ground level up there, especially when you're hauling saddles or other equipment in and out of this, or even just stepping in and out of the trailer, to be honest with you. So that step makes a big difference, making it really easy to step in here. Now pay attention here. Obviously the swing out saddle rack is swung in right now, so we have a lot of space moving in or out. But when I go to swing it out, pay attention to the door frame right here, and then this distance right here. Okay, a lot of competitors will run a 36-inch wide door. This one's 42, so you cut 6 inches off of this. Now you have a big saddle on here, whether it's a big ranch saddle, roping saddle, you can drag on this door frame. That's not what you want, so that's why it's a wider door. The other thing is now when it's out, if you notice, there's still room here. You can work on or off these tack rooms with that swung out. We did 3 saddle pads per swing out. These are adjustable, so I can change spacing if I want. I can add more, I can take more out, I can add more blanket bars. A lot of flexibility with this setup here, but we did 3 on each side. Okay. When I swing it in, again, it's nice and out of the way, making it really easy getting in and out of this tack room. On the floor, we went with rubber mats. I personally like rubber mats over carpet any day. And the reasoning why is carpet on the floor, boy, it's just hard. It gets dirty. It's hard to get those stains out of that carpet. It holds an odor, so I really like the rubber mats. It's a lot easier to clean versus the carpet itself. Now, we've done carpet on the drop wall and then the deck itself of the actual gooseneck. And then as you notice, we have a partial boot box. Goes across. It's a 12-inch boot box. This is another great catch-all for you. throw maybe tire changing equipment, maybe just some other equipment that you want to carry with you, and items that you don't necessarily want to just float around on the floor. That's good for that. It works as a great bench if you're just hanging out in here. And then if you're staying or need to hop up into that gooseneck, it works as a great, you know, step hopping up into the gooseneck itself. So with this, you're going to get 2 windows up in the gooseneck so you can see out. You're not going to get necessarily claustrophobic. It's nice to see out, especially when you throw like a mattress or a bedroll, sleeping bags up there. I've spent a number of nights in these goosenecks. It is nice to be able to see out. The other thing is you can create a cross breeze by opening both of them and having that, you know, air movement across there. This guy right here is going to be a storage tray for our plexiglass. I'll show you that here in a little bit, but keep in mind where that is actually located. All these front tack rooms are framed for an air conditioner. In this instance, an air conditioner, you'd have to add a power package. If you wanted a 12-volt fan or a manual crank camper style van or fan, you can add that. The framing, it's all the same footprint, so that's taken care of. If it's 12 volt, guess what? You already have a 12 volt battery on here, so you're set up that way. But that part of it's already done, kind of like that spare tire I was talking about. The framework is already there, saving you time and money. Okay, above each door is going to be one of these big OptiBrite lights. These are fantastic. They put out a lot of light, not a big power draw. This was a light we were constantly putting on our inventory, upgrading to, versus just a standard LED. Now this is a standard light. Cimarron has made that. You're actually going to have switches at both doors, so either way when you come in, you can turn these lights in, which is nice because you don't necessarily know which way you're coming in. This is the other swing out saddle rack. I'll show you that when we get to the other side of the trailer. On the partition wall, fully carpeted. And then we have 2 rows of bridle hooks there. So these are aluminum powder coated, so these guys are really stout. The carpet really helps versus just a aluminum sheet, because as tack moves on this wall, we notice trade-ins will come in. They got that quarter moon, just kind of, you know, it kind of works its way into those aluminum sheets, especially if they're painted. You just notice that, so it's going to protect the wall itself. It's also going to protect your tack, and it's going to be quieter for the horses or livestock, whatever you have on the other side. Behind that saddle rack is going to be that corner water tank. So that 25-gallon water tank, it's tucked right behind here. This is wasted space. So this is a great item to go ahead and stick back there. It's gravity feed. Fill at the top, empty at the bottom. You saw the hose out there. Get yourself a ball valve, and you can actually fill buckets up right outside the tack door, right at ground level. You don't have to pack them in and out necessarily, but that's fantastic. If you're traveling, you know, in the summer months when it's hot, just having water on board, you get to an event, maybe the hydrant's a long distance, you don't want to pack those buckets, it's nice to have it right here at the trailer. And so that's a really great feature that we've added on. Last thing I'll show you is going to be this shelf, okay? 18 inches deep, 2-inch lip. These are fantastic. You're gonna end up using this more than you think. I know customers really like these shelves. You can throw items up here. There's also a clothes rod underneath there. So if you're maybe showing off of this and you need to hop in, change into a show shirt, you can. Traveling, you don't necessarily have to take up space in the truck. Hang, you know, hanging clothes or garment bags right there. Fold up step, really easy to operate. And then again, there's a good look at that charcoal. The charcoal will be a little deceiving. You get it in direct sunlight, you're gonna get to see those metallic flakes, but it's gonna lighten it up. It's gonna be a real dark gray. And then when you get it maybe in the shade, or it's a little bit overcast, it's gonna darken up a little bit. It's gonna kind of look a little bit more black. And the other thing that I really like about the charcoal metallic is when the wind blows and maybe there's a little bit of rain and that dirt kind of sticks to things, this kind of hides it a little bit better than most of the other colors out there versus the white, which is standard. But again, we've got some different packages of these colors. Again, they're upgrades. You can do some custom colors. You can do graphics, those type of things after the fact. On the top rail, you're going to notice that 16-inch awning light. So we have an exterior load light, so it shoots down and out. It's not one of those pedestal lights that sticks up and protrudes off the trailer. Those can get knocked off by branches really easily. I see that a lot, whether it's service trailers or, you know, people looking to trade in, those pedestal lights will get knocked off. These are a lot better from that standpoint. Then you have your 2 air gaps with plexiglass. Okay, I showed you where that tray is. This is really important. Carry a roll of masking tape or painter's tape and a Sharpie, something to write on somewhere in that tacker. Maybe it's a brush tray, maybe it's up in the actual tray itself. But when we go to take this plexiglass out, if I'm on passenger side, take out the upper, I'm gonna tape that together and I'm gonna write that. Do the same on the lower, same on driver's side. Because you have to remember, we have a long wall and a short wall. Same for the stock area. So we have different lengths of plexiglass. Well, as you can see, they're clear. They have that smoked look to them, so they're tinted a little bit. But guess what? Now I'm gonna tell you, here's all the pieces, put the puzzle together, but you have no idea what the picture looks like. If you wanna save a lot of time, hassle, and a lot of bad words, I've done it myself. Used trailer come in, I'll spend half hour putting this plexiglass in. I can do it in about 2 minutes if I know where everything goes. So just take the time, take your plexiglass out and put it where up there in that storage tray. Getting it out's really simple. There's a track built into all these stock trailers, okay? So if you have a Cimarron stock trailer, this track is already in there, and so you can add plexiglass. But about 4 foot back is gonna be this little notch. And if you just take your pocket knife and slide it, once you get your first one out, then it's really simple to remove the rest. But again, take them apart, take it all out in one section, tape it together, but then it's really easy to put back in there. You have 3 tie rings on each side. If you want to add more, you can. Any of those upright posts, we can add a tie ring to it. You're gonna have a bolt-on fender here, so if you tear this up for any reason, it's much simpler to replace. Once again, taking those steps like putting the AC frame, moving that spare tire, this is one of those that will save you time and money the way Cimarron set it up, because it's a bolt-on rather than a weld-on. We have 2 7,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles. We have 16-inch aluminum wheels. The silver with black ties in really well with this color package. And then the actual plexiglass itself, you have electric brakes. And on this, I mentioned the tire warranty. Okay, from the date you purchase it, you have a 1-year, no questions asked warranty on these tires. If you have a blowout, if you catch road debris, if you catch a nail that punctures the sidewall and it can't be patched, they'll replace it, no questions asked, within the first year. It's not through Cimarron, it's through their vendor for wheels and tires. We can help you out with that process. Don't just discard the tire, get some information, show us the damage, get some codes off of it, and then we can submit it and help you out with that. All right, at the back of the trailer here, on this setup, we went with dual 50/50 gates. These are independent, so I can open and close either one of them. We did kick mats on the back gates, and there's kick mats on all the interior walls of this guy. So that is definitely a nice upgrade. You're gonna have an 8-inch awning light on that top rail, just kind of like the one we showed you on the side. The doors are open, so the back tail lights are kind of covered, but if you notice on the top ones, there's a white X in the middle of that. That is a built-in backup light. So when we throw our truck in reverse, our backup lights on our truck are worthless back here, okay? So when we throw it in reverse, those guys will light up. You can see, again, getting home late at night, backing in unfamiliar places in the dark. It's nice to have that coverage, and you have that. Maybe you want a rear ramp. Okay, we can remove that rubber bumper and we can do a weld-on ramp that'll be basically a fold up over the rear doors, okay? So a ramp over. So we'll shut the rear doors and they'll fold up over the back, but you can add a ramp. Maybe you want to haul some toys or something like that in it, or your horses just prefer an actual ramp load. All right, so we've got a center gate. It can store and lock in over here on driver's side, but then ahead of it is going to be a stud divider. Okay, so you have the center gate and then you have a stud divider. So technically you kind of have 2 stud dividers with that center gate there. So in this instance, from the partition wall to that gate is 6'6". So each one of these stalls, 39 inches. That's what is standard on the slant load horse trailers. So with that being said, this front stall, the second stall are going to be set up size-wise to, again, those slant load horse trailers. But with the stud divider, if you got a couple horses and you need to separate, you've got that capability. You don't have to worry about anything you know, shifting underneath if you're using it for extra storage, which is really nice. It's got the big spring, so it's wanting to pull towards driver's side. And then slam latches. These are recessed paddle latches within the wall, so nothing's protruding out, so it's safer for the horses. This heavy UHMW plastic paddle latch itself, when we shut these dividers, we don't have metal to metal contact, creating a lot of noise and a lot of rattle in here for the animals. Okay, so there's that lower kick mat. Again, it goes all the way around. It's up on the partition wall. Couple LED lights in here. The switches are at the back. I'll show you those here in a minute when we shut the rears. But as you can see, it's nice to have those lights. Those put off a ton of light, so we're big fans of those OptiBrite lights itself. On the roof, this is standard on every single Cimarron. It is a 1/2 inch thick reinforced honeycomb design fiberglass roof. Has an R3 thermal value and a gel coating. So I know I just said a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, it's strong. I can walk on it. It takes 150 pounds per square foot. It takes substantial hail, okay? So it's gonna protect your investment versus an aluminum sheeted roof. The other thing is it's gonna keep this stall area 20% cooler than aluminum sheeted roof. So it's much more comfortable for our animals. Once again, the noise aspect of it, when you have an aluminum roof and you tie into those aluminum rails, you get a vibration, and it's really loud in these stall areas. Where with this Cimarron roof, the way they have it set up, and the design of it, it's much quieter for our animals actually in here. So as you can see, that's why it's a really versatile trailer from the standpoint of hauling horses, hauling livestock, and hauling toys. On the flip side of things, the floor. We have rubber mats, but what's really important is what's underneath those rubber mats. That is the industry's best floor. It is a 12-inch extruded deck piece that locks in high and low like tongue and groove. So we have 2 points of contact there versus 1 point, which is a lot more, it has a lot more flexibility to it. When you have 2, it's much more rigid, so it doesn't move near as much. So the other important thing is they're 4-inch centers, okay, with the V-truss in the middle of that guy. But those 4-inch centers, imagine a horse or a cow standing on this floor. Wherever they're standing on 1, if not 2 of those beams. So industry's best floor, you start off with a strong foundation, build up from there, and that's what you have on a Cimarron. Between the 2 air gaps, you're gonna have this tie rail. This is important because I can't throw a lead rope around these uprights with the plexiglass in. So I can actually just utilize that right there. So that's nice, it goes the full length of this stall area. And then this back stall is massive. I mean, you can definitely put, you know, at least 3 head of horses in the back of this. You can maybe even squeeze another one on if you want. But again, these combos, that's the versatility of them. I mean, obviously the most popular are 20s and 24s. Every once in a while we'll do some 22s, some 26s we have. But it's why these trailers are so popular, because you can do so many different things with them and have that front tack room up there. So over here on this driver's side back post is where all these switches are going to be for these exterior and interior lights as far as the stall area. They're all on individual switches, so I can turn on passenger side, driver's side, rear, stall, or I can turn them all on. So they're located right there. On driver's side, same thing. You're going to have a 16-inch awning light on the top there. There's your 2 rows of plexiglass. Once again, this is a longer wall over here versus the other side, so that's why it's important to keep track of that plexiglass. You have a chest bar that goes across the escape door. So if you have somebody in that stall and you need to open this up, that's going to keep them in there. Access, if you're just utilizing it for storage, maybe you're throwing some hay, some bedding, those type of items in there. You get somewhere and need to grab that, you can open it without even having to step in the trailer itself. And then as we get to the other side of the front tack room, again, it's mirrored. So we have 42-inch wide door, 4-tier blanket pole rack on a swing out, and brush tray on the door. This is again one of those 42-inch wide doors. with the swing out saddle rack. Again, 3-tier. Again, I can adjust these how I want them, but I still have space here to move in and out of the actual front tack room, whether it's in or out. And then the fold up step on a gas shock. So again, it's a mirrored setup. You can see why it's so popular to be able to work off either side of the trailer itself. Again, we've got these in combos. We do them in some 4s, 5s, 6 horses. It has become such a popular setup, and probably our most popular selling tack setup on a lot of these using trailers. So I'm going to give you the stock number for reference on this one. Again, this is a 2026 Cimarron Lonestar 24-foot combo with the dual tack. Our stock number is 5N251215. We do take trade-ins, so if you're looking to upgrade or downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available, and delivery is an option, so we could potentially bring this to your doorstep. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.